Welcome, everyone, to the Triple Double, the NBA show powered by SportsMemo TV. I'm with my co host, Ronald, better known as UCapper, on the Twitter channels. Be sure to follow him. He's brilliant at the NBA. I think I know a little bit too, but I pale in comparison. But we're basically considered 1 and 2 at SportsMemo, and it's a pleasure to have him on the show. I must say, the purpose of this show was illustrated probably perfectly yesterday when we were talking about the Miami Heat and whether Butler would play. And I said that, boy, if Butler's not playing, it's probably going to be like more of an under. And you enlightened me saying that, boy, that's going to be a bigger offset because of his defensive presence. And it hit me. And I knew that your take on it was much better than my take on it. And I agreed 100%. Lo and behold, he does not play, and that was announced late in the afternoon. I put out a 4% premium play to my all-access clients, so a shout-out to you. But the point is the exchange of information, guys. You can't be a successful person in any field on this earth if you try to do it in a vacuum. You need to, check the ego at the door and listen to people and surround yourself with the people that really know what the hell they're talking about. So that's a perfect example. And that was a good pick. It went over the total easily. And thanks.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the first game on the board here, which is the Knicks. The New York Knicks are traveling to Charlotte. They take on the Hornets. Hornets are 6-7. Knicks are 7-5. They're 5-1 away. 2-2 at home are the Hornets. This is taking place at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Julius Randle, 21.9 points per game, 10.5 rebounds per game, and averaging 5.2 assists per game, is basically the leader of the Knicks. And of course, LaMelo Ball, who I enjoy watching play on offense, is really becoming a very good NBA young player with a brilliant career ahead of him. I'm going to go with a play here on the Hornets. Despite the fact that they don't play defense, they are the number one rated offense across the board in just about all the categories. They really can get up and down the court. The over-under in this game is 224. Charlotte's getting 1.5. So at this point, it is a lean for me on this game. Some really good stuff, though, from the Knicks the last couple of days, Ronald. You probably already know this. They were getting slammed in their last game against the reigning world champ Bucks. A deficit was 24 points midway through the third quarter. They come all the way back to tie the game in the fourth quarter, but then so much energy to come back from that kind of a deficit, and they just didn't have enough gas in the tank. They lost 112 to 100. Mm-hmm. But then they trailed by 21 points before that game. And that was the first time since 1997-98 when the NBA began tracking play-by-play in the box scores that New York won a game in which it trailed by at least 20 points. So I think what they really have to focus on is getting the answers to why they get behind by not just double digits. I mean, they're getting behind by 20 or more points. And they're not starting out well in that first quarter. And then it's an uphill battle every single night. And I think the same thing is going to happen again tonight because that Charlotte offense, there's not too many teams out there that can really shut them down. So I'm looking at Charlotte and really as a first half bet. That would be my bet for this show is the lean on the full game, but a actual best bet on Charlotte for the first half. What do you think of that one, Ronald?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't have a big opinion on either side, but I could see where you're going with this. I think, the Knicks and their starting lineup, they've been having some trouble playing some defense, right? I think last year they were a inefficient offense, but a top tier defense, and they kind of flipped the script this year, and that has to deal with Kemba and Fournier, right? Being those two additions to the starting lineup. And you mentioned the game against the Bucks where they came back in the fourth quarter. I don't think a starting player played a single second in that fourth quarter.
That is correct.
So there's issues there, and so I'm with you, man. I can't back a Knicks team that's having some issues right now, and I don't think Thibodeau has mentioned if he's gonna make any changes to that starting lineup either. And I think until they figure that out, I might lay off the Knicks until I see a good number. And right now, I think the number's on the spot.
Yeah, that's a good point in that game when they came back. Thibodeau just left them out there and I guess he was trying to make a point to the starters that if you're not going to show up to play, then you're not going to play.
Yeah. And I think that was there was too much pride in that call too, though, because like you don't want a whole squad, a whole five unit to play a 12-minute quarter, especially the fourth quarter when you're using your most energy to come back, right? Like once they got into that single digit 4.5 point range, I mean, get your starters in there. They're well rested. And they've already been shown that they have to prove that they got to play, right? So I think there was a little bit too much pride in that decision of letting them sit the whole quarter.
Yeah, especially when it got tied or even within 6 points, single digits. I think you make the move then and see what happens.
Yeah, you made your point.
yeah, right. It's not this is not high school basketball, and I'm not putting high school basketball down, but that's generally where you see players, that aren't showing the team attitude correctly get benched, and it doesn't matter if they're the star of the county or the state. But I wanted to add too, Ronald, that the Hornets here were up 14 points in their last game on Wednesday, and both these teams played Wednesday, had yesterday off, so the rest is even. And they actually blew the 14-point lead and got down by as many as 8 before Oubre just sparked the whole team.
Yeah.
And they went on a 56-38 run. Oubre scored 26 of his 37 during that span. Nailed 2 3-pointers in the final minute, and that actually marked a franchise record for a reserve in points in a game of 37. So again, that just shows that this offense is becoming intimidating. I don't think you can just say like, okay, well, they have a horrible defense, so we'll win the game anyway. They're really just outscoring people right now, and I think though that first half bet, I'll take the dragster in the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to a game that you are highlighting here, and that is the Nets are at New Orleans, the Pelicans, who are, it's hard to even say, 1-11, 0-5 at home. Nets 8-4, 4-2 away. Brooklyn comes in as an 8.5-point road favorite, over under 215 points. Kevin Durant, just is Kevin Durant, 29.5 points per game. This is at the Smoothie King Center, and there's nothing smoothie at all about the Pelicans' record. But tell me what you think here, Ronald.
Yeah, usually in these bigger slates, they're usually like at least one game where it's kind of like a don't overthink it game, right? Like one team should be the clear, dominant team over the other. And today, I think this is that game. You mentioned the Pelicans 1-11. The Pelicans are terrible on both sides of the ball, right? They're 26 in the offensive rating and ranked 28th in effective field goal percentage. Defensively, they're actually dead last in defensive rating. The Nets, even though they're ranked 20th in offensive rating, they shoot at a high percentage. Their effective field goal percentage is actually third highest in the league right now. And defensively, like they don't create too many turnovers, right? They're dead last in steals per game, but they still limit opponents to just 42.3% from the field, which is actually second best behind the Warriors. And like I said, this is sort of like a don't overthink it spot here. The Nets should win by double digits, in my opinion. The only question mark is if Ingram plays. I think he practiced yesterday. he's game time decision today. But either way, if he's in or out, the only difference is the line will move. But the Nets should win this one by double digits regardless.
I'm with you on that too. And do you have any lean on the total? Because I know the Nets, despite you think of the Nets as a powerhouse offensive team, even without Irving in the lineup. But they were one of the bottom feeders here in this dramatic trend to the under. We've seen games go under at over 62% for the season right now. But I'm still thinking, like what I said in the previous shows, that one of these days it's going to reverse. I think we're bottoming. But the team trends that the Nets are. Let's see, the Nets. Brooklyn is 3-9 in their 12 games that's the over record. So the under has won 9 of 12 games for 75%. Is this a game that is possible that it could play over, or no opinion, lean?
This one is tough just because they're both in the middle of the pack as far as pace goes. And like I mentioned, the Nets, their offensive efficiency is great, right? They can shoot the ball well. The only thing for me, the reason why I would lay off of the total is just because of the question mark of Ingram. We don't really know if he's going to play or not, and that affects the Pelicans offense. But regardless, I think the side here is what's pretty I'm kind of like locked in on that. That's where I say, all right, well, this player's a game time decision. Can I make a decision whether or not he's playing? And that's what I did here today. I think with or without Ingram, the Nets should win by double digits, but with or without Ingram, the total can move up or down. So that's how I kind of went about this game.
Yeah, and I just I'll add Brooklyn is 8-3 to the under when installed as a favorite. So I don't think I'm going to try to catch that falling knife and bottom pick here.
Yeah, I think it's really close to where it should be.
Yeah, good point. And then our last game on the slate here is the last game of the night, and that is a very good matchup. It is the Bulls at 10 o'clock taking on the Warriors out there in Oakland, California. San Francisco, actually. I correct myself. At the Chase Center. So Golden State is a 5.5-point home favorite. The over/under is 221.5. Steph Curry. DeMar DeRozan is I don't have to really give any introduction for those two names. 8-3 are the Bulls, 3-1 away. I mean, I guess the initial lean for me would be on the Warriors. But what do you think here initially?
Yeah, I think the Bulls, they're on a 2-game win streak, but they're going to be pretty thin tonight with Vucevic on the COVID list now, and they're already without Patrick Williams, who's out for the season. The Warriors, they might be without Green. I think he's a game time decision as well, and both guys are key players for each team. But I think to me, Vucevic is more of a significant loss. There's a huge drop off in talent and skill between Vucevic and Tony Bradley at the center spot. And if Green sits, the Warriors have guys like Damian Lee and Iguodala who have been in the system for a while and kind of fill that role that Green plays on this offense. And both teams are solid on both sides of the ball, both ranking in the top 6 in the offensive and defensive rating. Golden State is actually the best in the league as far as defensive rating, and I'm giving an edge to the Warriors in this situation just because of the loss of Vucevic in this game, and this is also their first game of a tough road trip. They got the Clippers, Lakers, the Blazers, and the Nuggets, I believe, all on the road in this road trip. So it's a tough one for them, and they got to prepare for this long trip as well. So the total, I think, is too tough for me. The Warriors play a fast pace, but both teams are strong defensively, and not sure how the Vucevic loss is going to affect the Bulls as a whole, how they play. and their pace. So I'd like to stay away from the total, but I definitely lean the Warriors here. I think they're the right side.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. But what a gauntlet the Bulls have to play. Golden State tonight, day off, then back-to-back nights, Clippers, Lakers.
Yeah.
No travel involved. I mean, that's one good thing. Then a day off at Portland, day off at Denver, home against the Knicks in Indiana. I mean, that's not easy. I think 500 through that stretch. If they went 3-2, that would be an incredible road trip. Actually, I noticed that they shot 50%. The Bulls did 51 actually in their win over Dallas, 117-107. And we mentioned that is initially like a fade. And the last time they shot over 50% was back on November 1st at Boston. They won by 14, shot 57%. Lo and behold, they lost at Philadelphia, 98-103 in their next game, and shot 46, so it wasn't a horrible game. Conversely, when teams like NBA teams shoot 40% or less, that happened to the Bulls in the second game against the Sixers on November 6th. It was a home-and-home matchup with Philadelphia on November 3rd and November 6th. They won... they lost 105-114 and shot 40%. Okay, so now you're bullish on the Bulls in this little framework, and they beat Brooklyn badly. They won by 23 as a 1-point underdog. So I think that adds to my my interest in Golden State tonight as at least a lean, and we'll update everybody with any upgrades in those. In our opinions and thoughts right now.
I think one reason why I'm not making this an official premium play is just because of the fact that sometimes when teams lose their a key player, a star player, that first game without them, the bench and the replacement guys and the other key starters, they tend to play up, like to their highest potential, basically, to kind of replace what they lost in that key player, and that's the reason why losing Vucevic is huge. So I'm kind of expecting a lot of the guys to step up for that first game and then kind of flatten out. But I still haven't made a decision on whether or not I'm going to take it as far as a bet.
Do you have any concerns with the fact that the Warriors have won 6 in a row and covered all 6 in a row?
Yeah, I think that's just to the fact that they're actually legit. They're really great. They're great this season, and I'm actually really excited to see how this team, kind of gels when Klay Thompson gets back, right? Because Poole's been playing awesome in the starting spot, and I'm really high on him. I think he's a great player, and he fits that system really well. I did expect him to play well this season in the starting role, especially how he did in the preseason. But I didn't expect him to ball like he is right now. So, but I want to see all three of them together and see how that goes.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see that. It's gonna be kind of like the old days.
Yeah. Yeah,
when they were world champions. So those 2 years, just a fantastic combination with Thompson and Curry for sure.
Yeah.
Lastly, you got anything going on this weekend over at SportsMemo?
So I think yesterday I won the NFL play. I didn't have a premium play in the NBA, but I won the NFL one. So still hitting over 60% in the NFL, and that's probably going to be one of my main focuses for Sunday. But the NBA, typically on the bigger slates, I'll have 1 or 2 plays. But yeah, so that's probably what you guys can expect from me this weekend. How about you?
Well, I'm looking at my hot streaks that SportsMemo gives us. I'm on a 78% streak the last 10 in college football. Longer term, over my last 210 NFL and college, 123.2% ROI. and 62% in the last 90 NFL 4, 5, and 10 unit best bets. And I'm going to be releasing a 10 unit bet. It'll be my second one of my career, and the first one won. So,
Nice, yeah.
Very, very excited about the Sunday card, and also we're both in the circa million. So
How'd you do last week?
3-2.
3-2.
Luckily.
Yeah.
But I think we were both on Denver, right?
Yes, we were both on Denver.
Again, it's they call it fade to public, but it's deeper than that. Sometimes you're picking games in these contests that, as Las Vegas Chris has said so many times, you want to down the stretch pick the game that you think has no chance of winning.
Yeah.
To a point, he's right. Because you need to jump over those guys in front of you, and you got to make sure that you're not part of the herd that has the most popular teams.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a topic for another show, I guess.
Yeah.
But it'll be a big weekend, I think, for both of us over at SportsMemo. So that'll do it for this show, the Triple Double. That'll be a wrap for Friday. Thank you for your time, Ronald. And on behalf of him, myself, and SportsMemo.com and the Triple Double NBA show, may all the wins be yours. Thanks for watching.